Chapter 5: A Glimmer of Hope. Have a good day, we'll try to get some sleep X. The message, so typical of Aubrey's kind nature, only twisted the knife of guilt deeper. Memphis' fingers shook as he typed a response, his words hollow given the reality of his actions. Thanks, babe XXX. He sighed heavily and a sense of defeat washed over him as he stared at the message. Aware of the distance his lies had created, not just the physical distance from LA to New Orleans but the emotional chasm that now lay between them. Compelled by a need to do something, anything, to ease his conscience, he opened his phone and requested a lift. As he waited, another notification dinged on his phone and pulled him back to the present. He glanced at the alert, a money transfer for $20,000 from Sofia, accompanied by a note, "Sorry for the complication." The money felt like both a lifeline and a chain. Conflicted, Memphis wrestled with the urge to reject it, but the stark reality of his financial obligations won over. With a resigned sigh, he transferred half of the amount directly to Aubrey's account, in the hope of covering their bills and maybe lessening the weight of his betrayal. But the guilt remained, relentless and consuming. As the lift arrived, cutting through the darkness with its headlights, Memphis slid into the back seat. The driver offered a polite nod, but Memphis barely registered his presence. Instead, he leaned his head against the window and watched the city lights blur past, each streak of light a reminder of the paths crossed and the roads taken. The weight of his choices pressed heavily on his chest, a constant reminder of the intricate web of lies and truths he had woven. As the car sped through the night, Memphis was left to ponder the costs of his actions, both seen and unseen, and the ripple effects they would have on the lives entwined with his. In the quiet solitude of her New Orleans bedroom, Aubrey wrestled with sleeplessness. The emptiness beside her in the bed amplified the loneliness that gnawed at her heart. She was truly feeling the weight of Memphis' absence, a void filled with ice cream, soda and binge-watching every dating show available on Netflix. Although she tried to push it to the back of her mind, her thoughts spun relentlessly, a carousel of worries about their future. She feared the return to their previous struggles, scraping by with no work, their finances perpetually on the brink. The thought was suffocating and tightened a noose of despair around her hopeful aspirations. Determined to shake off the dread, Aubrey reached for her phone. She needed a distraction from the bleak narratives that haunted her. Her heart skipped a beat as she noticed an alert for a money transfer from Memphis. Confusion quickly gave way to shock as she saw the amount. It was a sum that could cover several months of their expenses, perhaps more. "Oh my goodness," she gasped, her voice a whisper in the dark room as she sat bolt upright. A wave of relief washed over her, so intense it lifted her from the bed. She couldn't contain her joy, it bubbled up, irrepressible, as she let out a giddy cheer. "Yes! Yes! Yes!" She spun in a small dance of delight. The weight of her worries dissipated and was replaced by an elation that made her feel lighter, almost buoyant. Aubrey's laughter filled the room, a sound of pure joy that had been absent for too long. She reveled in the unexpected relief. The financial reprieve felt like a lifeline thrown in the midst of a storm. The moment was a burst of color in the gray palette of her recent life, a reminder of the possibilities that lay beyond the struggles. Unaware of the complicated circumstances that led to this windfall, Aubrey allowed herself to bask in the momentary bliss. The complexities of Memphis life in Los Angeles, the tangled web of decisions and consequences he navigated, were distant whispers, unheard over the rush of her newfound hope. As she danced alone, her silhouette cast playful shadows on the walls, and Aubrey was oblivious to how the dynamics of her relationship with Memphis were shifting, and how his other life decisions might soon ripple across the calm surface of her joy. For now, she clung to this glimmer of hope, a beacon in the darkness that promised better days ahead.